Welcome, Ryan Fitzpatrick, back to the QB room. Second time. We have Thursday Night Football with Ryan Fitzpatrick. A lot of people are calling it the Ryan Fitzpatrick Bowl, actually, Buffalo versus Tampa. It's been being talked about a lot by a lot of talking heads on TV. We have our first question is actually from the starting quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen. I was sitting in meetings today, and I go, hey, Josh, I got Ryan on tonight. What do you want me to ask him? And he goes, I only got one question for him. And he said, ask Ryan what he did when he took his interviews in the locker room after the game and maybe after practice. There is a rumor that has gone around that your post-game interviews, especially after losses, even though when you were angry about doing them, you would come out of the shower and they kind of wrap around your locker with cameras and microphones, and you would sit there with the towel and just open up butt ass naked and say, I'm ready for questions.
Yeah, that was a young me. That was back in the Buffalo days. But yeah, that always gave me an extra moment to collect my thoughts. People would back away.
It's a weird phase. It makes sense it's in the Buffalo days, though, because I think you were probably a man of the people more as a current NFL player than probably anywhere else, right? I mean, I think you told me at the time that, like, you're just on the cul-de-sac and hanging out, and those are, like, actually still your buddies. And so, like, the media guys, I'm assuming, Kyle, you went to in Buffalo, is like, it's probably like Hobson in Cincinnati. You know what I mean? Just like lifers, been there forever. So many off the record conversations that you trust them with that I'll get naked.
Yeah, it was that kind of relationship. Very comfortable. It is funny though. All three of us played in Buffalo. That is, I'm crazy. Glad you could join the club, Kyle. You enjoying it?
Check it off. I'm enjoying it. You're hitting Mulberry's tomorrow night. I might try and stop by before we have to go check in at the hotel. Say what's up. You're kind of a local legend around there. Good. What's the owner's name? I met him last time I was there, but he was
Joe
Yergy. Yeah, Joe's the man. You're kind of a local legend. It is dying a little bit. Like you've been out of the league for so long that the legend is dying. So it's good you're coming back to replace your legacy here. You know,
you got Josh. I think they not got a Josh Allen in there. If they were still doing the carousel thing, take the second round pick and hopefully he pans out, you'd still be like the son of that city.
Yeah, you're spot on. The legend is dying because they have a current legend at quarterback, so they've quickly forgotten about me.
Also, current legend at quarterback. Go ahead,
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Is this the first time you guys have done this podcast? This is super awkward.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of hoping to talk next, but because remember.
No, I'm gonna actually talk the whole time since I booked Ryan as a guest. All right, here we go. We're gonna talk about the legend of the quarterback, Josh, but really of what you've been blaming me for in the media about Josh. So week one, you blame me for our loss against the Jets, which I'll take on the shoulders. Right? I got broad shoulders. Yeah. It's fine. I'll take that. That's easy. And then I think it was either after the Dolphins game or the Raiders game, you actually gave me partial credit of the win. So thank you. I was wondering this week if you had any coaching points for me of what I need to do to help this team win, since it usually falls on me.
So I only gave you 20% of the blame during the Jets game. Let's put that out there.
Okay.
But then I did apologize to you and Coach Dorsey after the nice 3-game stretch that you guys had. I actually do have some real advice for you for the game on Thursday. And I know that you know Josh more than anybody. But I want to see like the Josh. He doesn't have to hurdle anybody. He doesn't have to run over anybody. But I want to see him fired up on the sideline. I don't want to see him just sitting there, even after a good play. Like he's just become a little too calm for me. And calm is like not Josh. That's not where he needs to be. So just get the guy fired up a little bit. I would love to see him run somebody over and give a first down signal and chest bump a lineman and just see the Bills fans go crazy. And I will take my shirt off on set. You know, that's what gets me juiced up.
I like that. That's good advice.
Is there a line on like this gets the shirt off, right? Almost like 229.8 or 230.2 gets the shirt off, right?
Yeah, if there's a hurdle and a run over with a touchdown or a big first down sign where he like skips into it, like that's something that's going to get me going. Buffalo needs it. Buffalo needs this, Kyle.
We do need it. I'll relay that information, and then I'll take my shirt off as well. We'll just take my pads off. It'll be great.
At halftime.
You guys should do a jersey swap. Actually, that would be good. One of those like bowling shirts they got you in that hair and makeup has you in now. The bowling shirts that are like real colorful.
That's
It
a
kind
good
of feels
idea.
like be like one of the 3 shirts in if I picture what Lebowski's closet looked like there was 3 shirts in there. I would be like, 2 of those are on Prime Thursday night this season. Speaking of this season, you guys had a bye week first week. You got 16 straight. A lot of people, football fans, say things like the backup quarterback's the best job in the world, easiest job ever. We all know differently. You can also say talking on TVs, not even calling the game, just before the game and after the game. That's got to be the easiest gig in media. I don't know that I disagree with that statement. I would love to hear 16 straight weeks. What is the grindiest part of the grind? What's the that's a daunting deal. How are you feeling going into
I mean,
it?
the hardest part going from player to analyst is they're all away games. So you never get home game. You're always traveling every single week. That being said, for us, the schedule of doing it on a Thursday, usually we'll fly out on a Wednesday. We'll come home on a Friday. But this year we've got some great cities, different from last year. And as an analyst, more so than a player, you actually get to enjoy the cities. You get to have a nice dinner. You're not thinking about curfew. You're not thinking about meetings or having anxiety about how the game's going to go the next day. We get to see how the game unfolds and then talk about it. So talking is a lot easier than playing. I will say that. But visiting these cities now as an analyst and getting to dive into the food scene and culture and the people, that part is very enjoyable.
How do they do travel? Are you guys private everywhere? Are you guys, does it vary?
No, it just, for me, so we're pretty much always first class, but sometimes for me it's easier just to fly Southwest if it's a quicker flight or a better time, or
it's gritty.
so
that.
It depends. But some fly private, but not the lowly analyst.
You just got to keep doing commercials, and then maybe you just got off a commercial. If no one realized that he just got a commercial and then came on here, so maybe a couple more.
I felt like people need to see my face a little bit more.
I will say,
out there enough.
I got to give you some credit, and I have thanked you for this. I don't know if I'll ever be able to pay you back from this, but you did help me fly private back from Augusta this year, and that's a long flight.
I saw Christian Kirk the other day, and he rewarded me by making it a really exciting game and scoring a 44-yard touchdown to seal the victory for the Jaguars. So
and doing the Amazon celebration too. It was perfect. He did it all for you guys.
It was great.
That was great.
With that, let's get into one of those cheesy games that people always do on podcasts.
Love it. Let's do it.
Throw it deep or check it down, because like a would you rather. If you love it, you're throwing it deep. If you're like, nah, I'm checking it down. We're just going to get your take on a couple of things. Brock Purdy, I'll give you a statement. Brock Purdy only looks good because of Kyle Shanahan and the offensive weapons. You throwing that deep, or are you checking that down, and why?
So if my answer is no, I'm checking it down. Is that what we're saying?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm checking it down. I think, the way they've obviously lost the last 2 games, and he lost his weapons 2 weeks ago, and there was a decline, but he's so efficient. It's so crazy how fast he processes things. He's accurate. He's athletic. He always makes the right decisions. So I am very high on him. I'm not biased because he's from my hometown. And Jordan, actually the same town that your dad was born in, Gilbert, Arizona.
Gilbert.
Quarterback greatness. Wow. But I am really high on him. There's been too much tape of him being great, not just good, but great and efficient in that offense, that I don't really care if it's a system quarterback. He is in that system, and he's going to be in that system. So let's just allow him to be great and watch him be great.
Yeah, I love it. Tush push should be legal until another team gets better at it than the Eagles. It's not really. From what
I'm throwing that thing deep. No, we get in arguments with our stats guys and analytics guys all the time of how it's an automatic first down if you let the tush push happen. It's well, look at the statistics of how the Eagles do versus the rest of the league. If you take the Eagles out of it, it's a normal quarterback sneak. It's not as effective as a play.
It's not good.
I think it's awesome that they've mastered it. I think we're going to see a lot more of what happened with Fred Warner and doing the Troy Polamalu with guys diving over. like if you're a defender, why aren't you doing that? Why aren't you trying to jump the snap count and do that and taking a shot on the quarterback or the center and potentially guessing right and causing a turnover or fumble if you think they're going to get the first down anyway? And the consequences, they get 5 yards and a first down. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that'll deter teams from doing it.
How did you do in sneaks in your career?
I don't think I was a great sneak guy. I played 8 years in the AFC East. So it was like Tom Brady was the best quarterback sneaker of all time.
Yeah.
So it was just like so lame. Every time he did it, somehow he got like 3 yards. And I think I was okay. I mean, I didn't love him. So I'll say if I had to guess, I was probably around 75%, which isn't a good quarterback sneak.
It's
right?
not bad though. I mean, it's carnage in there. Mac Jones tried to do a QB sneak against us for a 2-point conversion this week, and he was crawling off the field. Like it's if you're not built for it, it's carnage in there. Yeah.
Well, especially when you try to do it against Jordan Phillips when he jumps the snap count every time near the goal line.
Why not?
Then it hurts. Yeah.
Next one, CJ Stroud is the best rookie you've evaluated. What is it, 6-7 games in the season? Throwing that deep or
no doubt. I'm throwing that deep, baby. And I know you probably have a better finger on the pulse than I do on this one, Jordan. But I didn't watch him play. I didn't watch any of the guys play a ton in college. I just watched CJ Stroud throw the ball at the combine. And like, if I'm trying to teach my kids how to throw a football, I would point to CJ Stroud and be like, just look at this dude. It's so pretty. Like everything looks so efficient. And I don't know. I really like the way he threw the football. I like the second level throw and the way it comes out of his hand. So am I surprised that he's having as much success as he is as a rookie on Houston? Yes, very surprised. But I felt like he was the guy that was going to have the best career.
Yeah, it's crazy these last couple of years from when Deshaun originally, had issues and got in trouble, and then then the year out, then getting him out of there, and then Kyle, you were there just like you want to talk about a franchise, and then where they're at from a franchise quarterback perspective. They went from completely having it completely locked up, nothing to worry about for a decade here, to no quarterback in sight, to feeling pretty good about the next decade here. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that many franchises have really actually done that.
Yeah, and even just like for D'Amico Ryans to be able to change that culture so quickly. And I was in Houston in 2014, and that was kind of the tail end, just after Schaub left. J.J. Watt was still on fire, and it was like that atmosphere, like they love football there. It was a great atmosphere in Houston. And so now for like D'Amico to be able to come back, he was a captain of the team, to be the coach, to turn the franchise around. I just think it's so cool. And, they've already won as many games as they won all of last year. So I think this year is already a success for them.
Yeah. I like that you point that out because I've experienced that in Houston, and like little kids, who should I be a fan of? And like for the last couple of years, like really heading into like Josh's third year, I'm like, hey, it's a good time. If you're going to pick a team, it's a good time to become a Buffalo Bills fan. You'll have a blast, And then, like at Cincinnati, actually, it's going to be pretty fun here. They're going to be pretty good for a while. It's like Houston's that team now where I'm like, you can be safe becoming a Houston Texans fans if you're a little kid right now. And that's a good guy to emulate, too. He's also a fantastic young man. Awesome. Next, Kirk Cousins going to the Hall of Fame. Throw that deep or check that down.
That's a check down for me. I love Kirk. I love his game. But let's just think about some of the names like that are going to have to go into the Hall of Fame during Kirk's era. I mean, there's quite a few guys. Like, is Matt Stafford a Hall of Famer? More so than Kirk, yes. Is Matt Ryan a Hall of Famer? I think yes. More so than Kirk, yes. Russell Wilson, that's an interesting conversation. A lot of people would say yes from his first 10 years in the league, but who knows after the last few. Then Aaron Rodgers has to get in. There's a lot of guys in this era that are going to have to go in. And so unfortunately for Kirk, like that one, I just don't think it's going to happen because it's not just going to be based on statistics, but winning and Super Bowls and all that. And he's not going to have the resume.
Yeah,
but it doesn't mean he's not a great player though.
We were talking just in the QB room the other week about Matt Ryan, just kind of even being on the edge just because of like no Super Bowl. But you think because of statistics, it's like top 5 for him in like all categories,
It's top 5, and he was the MVP of the NFL. He was the best player in the NFL in one of those seasons. And so, he is a guy people could argue about. I don't know that anybody's going to argue about Eli Manning because of the 2 Super Bowls in New York. But Matt Ryan's statistics, I mean, it's insane what he was able to do, the pure number of yards and touchdowns and everything he did while he was a player.
Oh. Last one, Gardner Minshew is the new Ryan Fitzpatrick. You throwing that deep or checking that down?
I'm checking that down, man.
Eye roll.
I like him. I do. And I think, it's been amazing. He's the wins that the Colts have. He's the one that's brought the wins to the Colts this year. So he's playing really well. He will be up and down. So I'm talking myself into this as you're asking me. Jeez. I like when I watch somebody like Baker Mayfield. He obviously was in Cleveland fine, but then he was in Carolina, then he was in LA, now he's in Tampa. It's like that story of the sudden change, move from place to place, on the field, playing, starting. Next year he's going to have to move on and go somewhere else. Does he still want to do it? He plays hard. His teammates like him. I think Baker's a guy, and coming up in this Thursday night game, we had him last year when he was in LA for 24 hours or whatever, and McVay threw him out there and he leads the drive down the field. That's a guy that I enjoy watching, and kind of, he was the first pick overall and I was the 250th pick, but that's a guy that I just find myself rooting for.
Enough similarities there. Yeah.
Yeah. We're 249 picks away, and he swings
Close.
a golf club left-handed, but
You have a good golf swing too. Let's not take away from that. You got a nice swing. You do play Kirkland golf balls though. So what we?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? They've got a great soft feel to them. Great soft feel.
They say they're like Pro V1s. They might as well be $1.
I think the first iteration were really nice, and now that we're on the 4th iteration, I don't think they're as nice. They feel like top flights.
They make a full set of clubs now too at Kirkland. I'm going to get you those for Christmas.
No, they don't.
For coming on.
What do you mean you're gonna get me those?
You already have them. So okay, my bad. I'll get you the black ones. My bad. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, get me the Golden Bears.
Jeez, gross. Well, we talk a lot of QBs. You probably now, I remember being with you in Washington, you were a film junkie when you were there. You had your own little office set up upstairs away from Zampese's office, so you can get a little privacy by yourself. But you were a film junkie then. You've probably watched more football now than you ever have, just being the analyst. I want to get your take on the quarterbacks around the league right now. Who are your favorite guys to watch, especially in a league where Brady's not playing anymore, Aaron's out this year? There's really not that many set top guys. There's a lot of guys trying to prove themselves in the league right now. Who do you like watching?
Yeah, I mean, I love Josh, but we don't need to talk about him because I don't want to make it awkward for you, Kyle, since he's your teammate. I love watching Lamar, and part of it this year, that's heightened for me because of Todd Monken. I had Todd when I was in Tampa, so I'm just super curious about, how Todd's going to adjust to Lamar, how Lamar's going to adjust to Todd, and that's a team. They're good enough, and we saw it last week with the Lions. They're good enough on defense to where they're going to go through these growing pains and not be perfect on offense. But last week, their offense sure did look good. So I think he's a guy I just have fun watching. The Patrick Mahomes, obviously. Herbert is always a question mark for me. I think I like watching him, but they have a hard time winning football games. Really root for Tua, being with Tua in Miami and the success that he has had. That's really cool. But it is there's just guys that I'm drawn to, and then there's, I'm a little bit of a hater, a closet hater at times. And now that I'm an analyst, I've got to give my real opinion on some of these guys. And
it's tough.
It's tough because I know more than anybody, potentially more than anybody on this earth, how difficult it is to play quarterback in the NFL. And I've lived it, and I've lived the highs and the lows. And I have opinions on these guys, and I'm getting paid to share them. So sometimes I go a little soft, sometimes I go a little hard, but there's guys I dislike more than others.
Yeah, you got caught by Jared the other week.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about the Jared thing is I actually like Jared. And if you listen to what I said,
I know I saw the clip. Yeah.
But I was trying to not be disrespectful to Matt Ryan, and in turn, it became disrespectful to Jared.
You can't make everybody happy.
Yeah, it's all good, man. I actually like that. I like that I don't love that Detroit's media department was like, hey, by the way, he said you're a poor man's Matt
Yeah.
Ryan. Let's get him. But I like that he clapped back. I mean, that's fine. He's playing really well.
Yeah. You talked about Tua too. You were with Tua when he was with Brian Flores that first year. That was the 1 year you were there with him, right? Or were you there multiple years with Tua?
Yeah, that year.
Just one with him. And now with McDaniel, obviously completely different vibe, completely different offense, everything. You see him thriving. I just want to get your take from being with him with Flores, who I think Tua was a guy that had his mind ready to be molded, right? He was probably very coachable, was ready to accept all the coaching, and now he's gone to McDaniel. What have you seen from him from that point being in the building to now? How much has changed and how much different he's playing?
Yeah, I think a lot was talked about last year, and rightfully so, when McDaniel came in about the love fest for Tua and how much confidence he gave him. Because I think after his rookie year, Tua was like a little bit of a wounded dog. Like he didn't his confidence was shaken. This is one of the first times in his life like he actually was on a football field, and even though he won some of the games that he started in, like it was a struggle. It was a struggle for him, and I think his confidence had wavered. So it was a great thing for them to do, and especially for McDaniel to do, to come in and say, look, this is our guy. I love you. I want to make you a star. And I think you're seeing the rewards of that this year. The guys that he's throwing to, that offense is tailor made for him. But if you look at, I don't have the passing chart in front of me, but it's like Tua, if he's throwing the ball inside the numbers from 5 to 20 yards, he's absolutely deadly. And it's when he's going to his first read, it's when he's getting the ball out, he's so accurate. And now you put him with guys that can catch and run and go to the house, and Waddle and Tyreek, like it's a tailor-made offense for him. So his confidence is at an all-time high, and I'm really happy for him because it was a really rough rookie year for a lot of different reasons for him. But like just to see him grow, as a father, as a husband, all those things and those steps he's made in his life, it's been pretty cool to see his success this year.
It's crazy to watch that offense. Like when you go in to play a team that played the Dolphins, right? Like whoever we played. Forget who we played, but you go in, it's like, okay, you're going to watch the Eagles play this team, you're going to watch this play, and then you're going to watch the Dolphins play this team. And every single defense plays the Dolphins completely different than they play everybody else. Like you play the Jaguars and they send like 4 off the side to the right, and then they're going to spin and bring cover 0, and they're going to do all this stuff. And then you go and see them play the Dolphins, and they play just Tampa 2 the whole game. They're scared shitless of the offense.
Yeah, they're scared. I mean, the ball comes out, even when you blitz them, the ball's coming out. And I mean, if you put that Denver game on, that's like almost not even worth it to watch as a defense. Like nobody wants to watch that Denver game.
Yeah.
They were just handing the ball off and running for 60 yards. But I mean, it's amazing, and it's one of those things I do have to give credit to the guy that went to Yale. But we were there, Harvard and Yale at the same time, and he was 0-4 against Harvard while he was at Yale. I just don't think he generated any stats as a player.
That's tough. You generated a lot of stats there too. It's actually up in the Harvard Club in that room, right? Is that your specific room there?
No, this one's not mine. No, nothing in reference to me. This is all like, we've got a 1958 reference. We've got a 1926. So there's plenty of history in here. Nothing.
If there was one thing in the Harvard Club that Harvard would not want anybody to come in and steal, could be in the lobby, could be behind the gas. Like, what's the most prized possession? Maybe there's not even a monetary value to it. I'm just curious.
They have. I don't think I would get in trouble for this. It's what they have. I mean, they have a famed like stuffed elephant that Teddy Roosevelt killed, like up in one of the main dining rooms, which is kind of cool. At least that's what I was told. I've seen it. I didn't see Teddy shoot it, so I'm not sure.
That's true. Yeah.
Can't confirm.
Lastly here, QB to QB. So last guest asked the next guest a question. Current guest asked the next guest a question. So last year, Kirk Cousins asked you about cover 0, and you, not with a lot of passion, I would say. It was, weren't super eager to answer, but you went ahead and answered it. And then you asked Sam Darnold how he regained confidence, which is a fantastic question. So we had Ryan Russillo on last week. And so his question is, didn't know it was going to be you, but his question is, would you rather be the starter for a full year on a playoff team, but you're out of it in 3 years, out of the league in 3 years, or cash checks for 12 years, but you never really play, you never get your own team. So would you rather like have, because you've had a win, you've had an awesome season, you've been part of a real winner, and you've been a part of some long years too. And so we're going to have the one, but you only get to play for 3 years, or play 12 and never do anything.
Doesn't Ryan spell his name with an E?
Yeah.
It's not his decision. It's
a different breed of species of Ryans.
Can I answer it in a different way than he framed it? Like I could tell you about.
Oh, you
like,
want?
Well, so when I was gearing up to sign with Miami, I got, and I think Bill O'Brien must have been in Houston still. Like I was offered to be Deshaun's backup in Houston. I'm trying to think this is the right. Yeah, it's the right team. So I was offered to be the backup in Houston, and if I went there, easy sledding, would never play. He was going to be the guy. I'd collect my checks. And I ended up for the same amount of money going to Miami instead to be like basically the guy that was going to be out there getting beat up. But my answer was always like, I just want to play. Like at the end of my career, if I wasn't going to play, then I didn't want to be there. So that was like, I was always chasing those opportunities, whether it was a bad one or a horrible one or an even worse one, as long as I was going to be on the field, like that's what I wanted to do and why I was still playing, because, I had too many kids to take care of to be wasting my time. And I had, by the end of my career, it's like I had enough money and everything else. So like, that's not necessarily what it was all about. So I guess in a long-winded way, like I would rather play than sit if it was the same amount of money or even less money, but I don't know. That was just me.
No, that's fair enough. It makes total sense and aligns with a lot of how your career's unfolded, chasing those opportunities. When you're leaving Cincy and going to Buffalo, and then you take Trent the third, and then, you know what I mean? What's the situation? Like, it was just a lot of those. And so it's awesome. All right. Give us a question you want to ask the next guest. You don't know who it is, but
you guys don't know who the next guest is, huh? I'd be super curious to hear if this next guest would just tune into Thursday Night Football. You've got 4 analysts up there alongside Carissa Thompson, Richard Sherman, Andrew Whitworth, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Tony Gonzalez. Which one is your least favorite analyst of the 4? I think that would be my question.
That's good. Yeah. Which one's your least favorite?
Me, for sure.
Okay,
cool. For sure, yeah. Me. Yeah, for sure, me.
That's good.
Well, I was just going to say, pick somebody that likes me so that they don't say me, okay?
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll preface the question for you. You're a great analyst. Don't let anyone tell you different. You're having a great second year. I remember I texted you before the year. I said, anyone can do it once. Can you do it twice? You're doing it awesome, man.
I mean, I'm no longer
sophomore
a rookie.
Slump. Yeah, no sophomore slump.
No longer a rookie.
You're the most fascinating person in sports TV right now. And so if you look at all these different groups, right? Like if you look at what did Andrew Whitworth have to do as a player to get on that seat, okay? Super Bowl, man a year. These things are like really unique, really hard.
In LA.
Yes. All of it, right? Tony Gonzalez, until somebody dethrones him, whatever, the greatest ever played that position.
Hall of Fame, Richard, greatest tight end. Yep.
The personality, all these things, and yet like you're irreplaceable. Like you can't like it's funny. Like the kids go like if somebody said I want to be like Patrick Mahomes when I grow up. How do I do that, Coach Palmer? There's a plan. It's probably not going to happen, but like, there's a plan for that. There's a pathway towards that, right? I want to be like Lamar Jackson. I want to be like Tua. There's a pathway towards that. I want to be like Ryan Fitzpatrick. Good fucking luck. Like, you know what I mean? So for you, it was the personality, the antics, the gimmicks, the things, the Brady doing math. I didn't tell you this. Ford loves that video. I show Ford.
That's awesome.
Brady, I think he was like 7 or 8 in that video.
He was 7. He was 7 in that video.
4 7, the Deshaun Jet, all the stuff, and it's just like, and then all the teams. But I just think the most fascinating dude in sports TV. Everyone else either shouldn't be there or had to do so many incredible things uniquely positioned to football, and you're also a baller. So, thanks for coming on and being a repeat roomie. And we got to say this too, because this. Unless, and I think it's just Blaine Gabbert right now, unless Blaine Gabbert and Kyle play together next year, You're the only person who Kyle and I have both been teammates with. So I think
is that true? Is that true?
It can't be.
Wow.
Yeah, it is. You're the only person that Kyle and I were both quarterbacks with.
Quarterbacks. Okay.
Wow,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Later.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
What two great role models for me, man. You guys are just great men in my life.